Thank you for having me here. And I feel very privileged to be in the young researchers section. Thank you. So I'll start with a short story. 2 years ago, I moved to London. I used to live in a very small village in the mountains. It was the first time I was living in a big city. And I was walking in the streets one of the nights, it was winter, and I suddenly heard birds singing during the night, which was a phenomenon that I never heard while I lived in the country. And it was really awkward. It was really strange. Anyone here has any idea why birds sing at night in London? During December, January?
Streetlights.
So I went to Google and asked Google, why do birds sing at night? And yeah, and the answer was light pollution. And this was the beginning, it was the first stages of my PhD research, where I am still researching the way that all kinds of self-tracking devices, wearables, and all kinds of ways that we use data to understand ourselves, how do they influence the way that we perceive ourselves and perceive the world. And while thinking of the birds that were influenced from the artificial light, artificial Christmas light, actually, I was starting to think about the way the data influence us on how we perceive the world through data. And I was asking myself whether is it something like data pollution? Are we suffering from the same issue that the birds are suffering from? And that's me. I'm Haya Sheffer. Haya Sheffer for you. The name of my research is Humanity Measures Itself. I'm trying to look for self-measuring and a new I'm trying to look for a new post-measuring discourse, trying to understand what are the issues around this self-measuring. And my research is a combination, like we heard here before, of art and it's a practice-based art and philosophy. And what am I talking about self-tracking? When I'm talking about self-tracking devices, what am I talking about? So it's all over. It's not only the it's not only the Fitbit that we bought for ourselves, it's everything. It's workouts, sleep, routines, happiness, places we've been, sex, and it's all over there, yeah? Habits, efficiency, popularity, mood, calories, breastfeeding, friends, meditations, memories, steps. It is a whole dashboard of information about our bodies, about our habits, and about ourselves. We perceive ourselves through a huge dashboard, and actually we're not really aware of it. And that is a question, so what? Technology gained amazing, tremendous achievements that we're really enjoying it every day. So what is the problem? What's so bad about it? And there's a lot of questions that I'm asking during my research, and I will not. First of all, I don't have answers for all of them, and we don't have time to talk about all of them, but just maybe 3 highlights to think about. One issue is that we are perceiving, we are using all these measurements and these self-tracking devices because we understand ourselves through new neo-capitalist values of efficiency. We think we are a kind of a tool that has to have great performance of the time and great achievement of efficiency and performance. The second thing is are we losing anything? Okay, we got all these great new tools to be better. Does it has any downside? Does it has any cost? What are we losing? And the third question that really bothers me, does anyone benefit from it? And how and what does they do to manipulate us so they can benefit from this new behavior? So now let's imagine our mind as a territory. And I was asking myself whether there is a battle on our mind where the objective way, the technology way of seeing things is trying to conquer this territory from a more ancient, authentic, objective way of understanding the world. And you'll see during my presentation that I believe that there is a constant battle on our mind, and we struggle. And I'm sure that when you go out, you'll realize so many anecdotes in your life when we struggle. Who should we give our territory to, the objective or to the subjective? And I'll just briefly go over a part of the history of objective Western mindset. To do it very easy to understand, there is the objective way of understanding the world on one side and the subjective on the other side. And philosophers are dealing with this question for quite a lot of time. It was really interesting. I thought I made it up, but then I realized everyone is talking about it. So start with a objective, empiric way of seeing the world. Somewhere around the 16th century, around the Copernican revolution, humanity started to believe, it wasn't there before, that we are not like other species, we are better. Maybe God is not the one that is ruling everything. Maybe we can rule things ourselves, and maybe we have the power. 17th century, the mechanical philosophy started. Francis Bacon on 1603 said that the role of science is to conquer, subdue nature, and storm and occupy her castles and strongholds. This is a state of mind. This is a belief. This is philosophy that we were all born into. And this is the way that we think about the world, about reality. And then came the Age of Enlightenment. This is Newton. And actually, this is the way that we think. Oh, yeah, and this is fast forward to today. So today we have the transhumanism. Nick Bostrom is the most famous philosopher in this way of thinking. But actually, we're all transhumanists because we all believe that science and technology is there to make us stronger, to make us control the world, to make us control nature. And on the other side, the subjective embodied method of understanding the world. And here I will add the word, I would use the word embodied way of understanding the world, which means the life, living the world, understanding through our body, through our guts, through our feelings. And it was only at the beginning of the 20th century where philosophers started to doubt the technological, realistic, strong way that I was talking before. And all kind of philosophers started to, all kind of post-philosophy started to emerge and calling to deconstruct this logos way of understanding the world. And that was philosophy. And now we're gonna see, I'll try to do it very briefly, what art had to say about these things. As I said before, I'm not going to have answers, but I was showing how philosophers and now how artists were dealing with this issue. And then I'm going to show my work, how I'm dealing with this issue. As we've seen before, there was, here we have Leonardo da Vinci in the Renaissance, first time in history of art, thinking that there could be a proportion, a good proportion for human being, for male, white male human being, and there is a mathematical way, right way of how we should look, or going forward to architecture, Le Corbusier was very much influenced from the Vittorious man that we saw before, and he was making buildings also believing that there are true proportions that we should manifest in our life. And life is all around right proportions, right and wrong. And we can see here very close to where we are now, we can see the Barbican, and this way of architecture emphasizes what I was talking before about efficiency and functioning, and things should work only according to what is technically right. And here we can see an artwork celebrating the Fitbit and creating a whole, I think it's about 4 floors pattern, taking from this Lori Frick Fitbit patterns. And of course, what we know today is what AR, VR, AI, all the ways that art is trying to conquer our way of thinking through technology. On the other hand, was Duchamp at the beginning of the 20th century, who made these 3 rulers of 1 meter each. And he was saying, no, there is not only one way to understand 1 meter. There are many ways to understand 1 meter, and he deconstructed the idea that there is one true 1 meter, and he was kind of saying to science, "Fuck off! I don't care. I don't care how you see the world. There are other ways to see the world." And today you can see a lot of deconstruction architecture. I like this phrase. So we broke every rule, everything. And this work is trying to sabotage the way that face recognition is recognizing faces. And what is really nice about this artwork, that human being can see something that machine cannot see. And today we are thinking of AI as something that is smarter than us and can see the world better than we can do. And here is an artwork that is saying, no, face recognition cannot recognize it, but we as human can. And I want to showcase 2 artworks that actually take advantage of the way that we believe in objective time. This artwork of Felix Gonzalez Torres was made when he realized that his partner is going to die from AIDS. So he just put these 2 clocks together, and the next counting the time that they'll have to live together. And this work of Christian Botansky was counting the minutes from the day he was born until the day he died, and then the clock stopped counting. And these 2 works take advantage of the way that we believe, and this is really strange. We believe that counting minutes or counting hours is the time that we have left to live in life. But actually, it doesn't really matter how much countable time. It is much more relevant what kind of time, what are we going to do in this time. But no one has any doubt, because these two artworks, people immediately understood that the relevant thing is the countable time. And I'm going to my work. I was interviewing, when I started my research, my PhD, I addressed the community, started to ask people questions about how, what experience and what feelings and what advantages and how did these issues that I was talking about reflect, or what about, I asked them from their experience in their daily life. And I collected about 20 or 30 short phrases. Let's hear one of them, if it's working.
There were a few times that my gut feeling, I would say, was different than what the app suggested that I should do, especially at the beginning of Ethan's life regarding breastfeeding. Well, you can basically feel it if you need to breastfeed your baby at some point, because, I don't know, you want to breastfeed. But the amount of time that I wanted him to be breastfed or to eat or to be nursed was different than what the app suggested. So at the beginning, there were a few times that I don't know, disconnected him or stopped nurturing him because the app said so. No, we just hit the 30-minute mark, for example. You have to stop. You have to stop breastfeeding. And I felt that it was wrong, but I still followed the instructions and not listening to my own voice or to my sense of self. There were times that my
enough. So actually, what she was saying is she was illustrating this battle. She had this very strong feeling how she should breastfeed her child, and the application said the opposite, and she followed the application. And I gathered a lot of stories like that, and then I read this sentence of an African scholar, Amto Amtaba, that said that when an African elder dies, it is as if a whole library is burned down. And he was talking about oral heritage. And he was actually saying that when we lose something, humanity loses a way to experience something. And I was thinking of the way that we're losing our embodied way of understanding the world, and and humanity is constantly losing ways of reading the world, losing languages. And I decided to make an archive of lost embodied knowledges. And I recorded these pieces of evidence on light-sensitive chips and stored them in metal cans. And I've made an exhibition, and the visitors came and started to explore and listen to. Let's see if it's working, because there's not a lot of light here.
And the reason is that I like to have an intuitive sense.
So later on, I wrote some here. You can try and listen. And what was really important in this artwork, that the visitors came, and it wasn't like sitting and seeing a movie or looking at talking heads telling their stories. People had to lean down, had to choose a box, had to collect, had to concentrate and listen and really get engaged to the situation. I have to say that it really worked. It was very, very engaging work. Do I have time to show another work?
We're running a little bit near the.
So I'll do it very short.
Yep.
So this is a work that is, it's a video artwork of 6 minutes, which I will show only bits of. And it is showing in a way that the way that mathematics is something that we really lekadesh, sacrifice, not sacrifice. Anyway, honor, that we really honor. Oh, sorry. Back.
7, 8, 9, 1, 62, 4, 35, 25, 10, 80, 70, 6, 8, 12, 14, 36, 42, 54, 4, 8, 3, 48.
So I want to send you home with 2 questions. Are we letting technology development pollute and obscure our inherent ways of perceiving the world? Are we reacting like the singing birds, believing that artificial light is a new ultimate truth? And thank you very much.